didn't see this, but I wanted to get into it, and I actually wanted to see how this was. Let's talk about it. Let's see what happened.
I want to go back to what I addressed at the outset. I mean, this was not only sloppy, it not only violated all procedures, but if this information had gotten out, American lives could have been lost. The Houthis had this information, could reposition their defensive systems. So I want to get a little more information about this. Director Gabbard, did you participate in the group chat with Secretary of Defense and other Trump senior officials discussing the Yemen war plans?
Senator, I don't want to get into the specifics.
Ma'am, were you on? You're not going to be willing to address. So you're not. Are you denying? Were you?
I look at these Senate hearings a lot of times as dog and pony shows. Can anybody in the chat? And I'm actually interested. Can anybody in the chat actually tell me what is the purpose of these Senate hearings? Honestly, I'm genuinely curious. I know that the Senate hearings with regard to the appointing cabinet members and the beginning of a president's term, I know what those purposes are. But could anybody tell me what these Senate hearings are for and what the purposes are? Because I thought that it was, based on discovery and then for them to be able to use that information for something much more meaningful. But it seems like they're just dog and pony shows for them to be able to cuss people out and see what people are going to say. So they are uncut, underground. You said accountability. In what way? In what way? How is it an accountability hearing? How do they hold them accountable? What happens? Because I want to know the context of why they do this before they do it. They said transparency. How is it transparency, Ezekiel, if they don't even let them answer? They ask them a question so that they can answer the question, but they don't let them answer the question or add context. And is it a time limit or something? What's going on? I'm trying to understand what these are for.
Answer my question, ma'am. You were not TG on this group chat?
I'm not going to get into the specifics.
So you refuse to acknowledge whether you were on this group chat?
Senator, I'm not going to get into the specifics.
Why are you going to get into the specifics? Is it because it's all classified?
Because this is currently under review by the National Security Council.
Because it's all classified? If it's not classified, share the text now.
As the White House previously
stated, is it classified or non-classified information on this text?
I can confirm.
Director Radcliffe, were you on the group chat?
Senator, I was on a signal messaging group.
So you were the John Ratcliffe on that chat?
I was.
Thank you. Thank you.
Can I provide some context, Senator, to that?
Yes, but I've got a series of questions.
Well, but I think it's important because at the outset you made a couple of comments about signal messaging using encrypted apps. So that we're clear, one of the first things that happened when I was confirmed as CIA director was signal was loaded onto my computer at the CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that I was briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records management folks about the use of signal as a permissible work use. It is. That is a practice that preceded the current administration to the Biden administration.
Director Ratcliffe, I've got a series of questions. If you're making the statement, if you're making the statement, the signal is a secure channel.
No, can I answer that? It is.
I've got a series
end-to-end decryption. So to finish,
I understand encryption.
It is permissible to use to communicate and coordinate for work purposes, provided, Senator, that any decisions that are made are also recorded through formal channels. Right. So those were procedures that were implemented. My staff implemented those processes, followed those processes, complied with those processes, and finally, just please. So my communications, to be clear, in a signal message group were entirely permissible and lawful and did not include classified information.
Well, we will make that determination, because if it's not classified, share the text with the committee.
She already said that they have to do the investigation.
Gabbard, you are the security executive and set access guidelines for classified information. Did you contact the defense secretary or others after this specific military planning was put out and say, hey, we should be doing this in a skiff?
There was no classified material that was shared in that
So then if there was no classified material, share it with the committee. You can't have it both ways. These are important jobs. This is our national security. Bobbing and weaving and trying to, filibuster your answer. So please answer the question. If this was Director Gabbard, if this was a rank and file intelligence officer who did this kind of careless behavior, what would you do with them?
Senator, I'll reiterate that there was no classified material that was shared in that
And if there's
signal.
no classified materials, share. And then if there's no classified materials, then you can't even answer the question whether you won the chat. This is strangely familiar, and I think my colleagues will remember, when you couldn't answer the question, is Edward Snowden a traitor? Man, I have serious doubts about your, anyway. Director Gabbard, I'm going to give you this. Tweeted just 11 days ago, and I'm quoting you. Any unauthorized release of classified information is a violation of the law and will be treated as such. So if this information is classified, what are you going to?
She said it's not classified. How many times does she have to say that it's not classified? Now, we can argue about whether or not it should have been classified or not, or if, we should deem it as classified, but she's directly answering the question and said that it's not classified, but yet we're still doing an ongoing investigation, so it's important for us not to release the information. I'm not really sure if I misunderstood or if I'm missing it or if you guys are missing it. I thought that it wasn't, if it's not classified, why does he keep saying if it is classified? She clearly said that it's not classified. Now, some people can say, Anton, she lying. Okay, well, that's what a part of the investigation is supposed to say. The American people could say, okay, well, she's lying. I don't necessarily agree. Now, listen, let's be objective. I am the person, because y'all always want me to feel a certain type of way, but apparently you decide to miss shows. Let's be very, very clear. I am the person that called BS on this in the first place. When this story first broke a couple of days ago, and I came on this live stream and I had a conversation and I was like, hey, is this Pete Hegseth's fault? And in midstream, we found out that it was actually Mike Walls that made the blunder. And Mike Walls was over there apologizing. I said, yeah, that's a problem. I think he absolutely made a mistake, and there's no way that you can tell me that this wasn't classified information. I'm the person that called BS objectively on it in the first place. So you don't have to press upon me your self-righteous indignation to try to justify the fact that I am already in the belief that it was classified information. The question that we're having right now and the conversation that we're having is, you was here, right, Wrath Unique? You was here. The conversation that we're having is, did she answer the question? They are saying that it's not classified. Based off of what you guys told me in the chat, the difference between something that's classified and something that's not classified, and then what I read with my civilian eyes, not military eyes, not a person that is of rank or anything like that, with my civilian eyes, I said that, man, that looks like some important information that should have never got out to the public, or it should have been classified. I called BS on it the minute that I seen it. So objectively speaking, this has nothing to do with that. I've already had that conversation. I don't need to reiterate it. I've already said that I believe that they messed up and this probably is classified information. The question is she answering the question that he's proposing to her? And why is he unwilling to get up off of this if he got the answer and say, well, if it is classified though? I don't understand the line of questioning. What I see is incompetence in this meeting from the person that's unable to articulate himself fair enough or well enough to really catch her up. She's standing on what she said. She's standing on what the directives are that's given to her. Mike Walls has already, came out and said, you know what? I was the person that mistakenly added the reporter from the Atlantic to this whole text thread. And the conversation should be whether or not Signal is a secure enough platform for people to be able to communicate, and how do we prevent this from being able to happen again? But his line of questioning is flawed because he's incompetent. If you think that it's classified, then just say it's classified, sir. But she answered the question. And just because you ask it 13,000 different ways does not mean that the answer is going to change.
To do.
Senator, 2 points here. First of all, there's a difference between inadvertent release versus
Careless and sloppy.
malicious leaks of classified information. The second point is there was no classified information that was on
And the
the
information
signal
committee
group
should get
chat.
that information. Director
And the
Patel,
National Security
Director
Council
Patel,
has
my time's
reviewed
about out,
how
and I'm
this
going to use
occurred.
my 12 seconds that the chairman gave me. Director Patel, has the FBI launched any investigation of this?
Senator, I was just briefed about it late last night, this morning. I don't have an update.
I would like.
So I will continue, as I said before, to continue to monitor this situation and see how it plays out. But my prediction is that nothing is going to be made about it. And in 2 weeks, this is completely going to go away. And nobody's going to care about it because we're going to be focusing on whether or not Diddy is getting diddled in jail. In 2 weeks, nobody is going to care about this, and they're going to keep it moving. The question is, how do we prevent this from happening again? And his head's going to roll if this type of mistake happens again. Mike Walls is the one that then leaked the information by including the reporter, and now they're trying to make a bigger deal out of it than it really is, because if the mission was successful, then we need to just make sure that this doesn't happen again. That's what I take from it.